Welcome back, everybody. It's Creative Redundancy back again, the one known as CR. And welcome to the P.R.E.P stream with me here. People, resources, the environment, and preparedness. And this stream, I dedicate to you people out there. Not just my moderators, not just my viewers, but other people too. Other people that we all know. So hopefully everyone's doing well. And you can see my little countdown timer right here. So I see my Earth in here, Sunflower. I think Mark's over here on his Chef Tech channel. So KP, you enjoy my streams. Awesome. Because you guys matter too. Yeah, the game's all here, right? Yes. So hopefully you guys are all doing well. Like I said, this stream is dedicated to you people out there. You awesome people out there. I'm assuming my mic's good because no one's complaining yet. As you can see here, I specifically brought this sign back again. It was the closest thing I could find. Hey, it's got P.R.E.P in there, right? So hopefully you guys are all doing well. TGIF, alright? Okay, sunflowers, okay, so I forgot the S, okay. Don't nag me on this technicality, okay? Sunflowers with the S plural. Yes, hopefully you guys are all doing well. Yes. And I have a stage prop here. Here, I'll show you guys the stage prop. Stage prop. Yeah. For you guys in the US. Right? You guys voted. Now it's time to prepare again, like I said the Earth stream. Hello, Howie. Hopefully you're doing well. I appreciate you guys all coming by. Alright? Because you guys matter, like I said, alright? I appreciate everyone that watched my previous video earlier in the day. Working with Mother Nature there. Well, not the person here, but like actual Mother Nature. Just to be clear about that. Yes. I'll change a few things around here while I'm doing this. Like I said, this is for the people. History. Alright? All those people. Alright? The people we know. Alright? The people we see all the time. At times, right? Not just our family and friends, but our YouTubers, our creators out there, right? The people we see in the side chats. Alright? You guys all matter. Alright? You know, when I hear something happening, you know, in your area, yeah, I'll check up on you guys and gals. Because you guys matter. Because I know stuff's been going down at times. We all know stuff's going down. We gotta be ready for it. That could be an R word right there. Not just with the resources, the gear, but the knowledge and then skills and the experience to kind of all back up that kind of gear. Because we are more than just the resources. You know, it's what we do. Not who we are. That defines us what we are. Right? We gotta leave something behind for, as Howie said to me earlier, a legacy. Wow. I guess maybe this one will be mine. Hello, Shawnee, I see you in there. Well, okay, yeah, I know there's a bracket holding the side. Okay. What's up, Doug? Miss Daily. Welcome, everyone. So, yes, for anyone that doesn't know, this stream, like I said, is for you guys out there, the people. In this stream, I talk about the people, the resources, our environment, right? That's all around us, right? Our food rock from the sun. And the preparedness part of it. Because, like I said, it all matters. Because we all see what's... See, I'm trying not to swear or go a rant, but we can all see what's going on at times. The storms that lie ahead at times, right? And the reason why I brought the specific CR logos onto the screen here, which I will show in this. Alright, and this is why I have these in the first place. All these. Alright? Because these are part of our world. Alright? The water. The trees. The heat. The land. Alright? You know, we are the people of the planet. So we're gonna do something about it, right? Because I know there's some stuff going on out there at times, like I said. Where it be out east in Tennessee, out in Spain right now, right? With a bunch of water everywhere, right? Those people, I might not even know anyone specifically, right? But, you know, I hear about it, alright? You know, I've seen, don't get me wrong, I've seen some of it. Like in the videos and stuff like that, you know. But, not just only those people. But these people that we also know, and some of these people I do know that are without a home or a permanent residence, you know, those people as well. You know, those people that are on the side of the road, right? Soaking wet from rain, and they just keep walking forward, right? They don't give up. They keep walking forward. They keep finding something. Always trying to find that next kind of resource, aka food. You know, they're trying to stay in their quote-unquote shelter, tent, something along the lines of that. Those resources. Those all matter. Well, hopefully that will last for you, Mother Earth. I see that comment in there. Well, more than those 5. Tuck. More than those 5. Beyond those. Alright? Because they all matter. The water matters. Alright? Because we're nothing without it. We're nothing without it. Alright? On the preparedness side, I would say, you know, I store water so I could have coffee. On the gardening side, you ain't growing anything without the water. You ain't growing anything without the water. And just this early. I wish try to show this, but without tilting it too much. Yeah. Okay, yeah, see? Oh. Yeah, see? That's a real plant! Alright? Sorry, I can't tilt it down that far because it's actually quite tall. Yeah. Let me just tilt this towards the camera here. Without actually bending it. Yeah, see? Yeah, see? Yeah. Yeah. No water? We don't get any of this. No food. You know, those kind of resources that are important. And yes, that is a real plant, by the way. What's up, Prep for it? I see you in there, man. Well, of course, just like any resource out there, there's that balance. Right? Look what's going on lately, right? Some places are in drought, some places are flooding, and some places have snow, and some places don't have any of it, right? And without that balance, well, yeah. See, sometimes it feels like it's out of balance sometimes. What's up, The Real? I see you in there, man. Welcome, welcome. Yes, that too, M.O.R.E, yes. And that's just only those people too, right? Because I'm well aware, just like any content creator out there, anyone does live streaming or has their quote-unquote audience, subscribers, followers, whatever you want to call it, right? Most of them, including you guys, including myself, we have an international audience. I know, because I have some people from Europe right now, and from the US, and from Canada here, alright? And we need to be ready as much as we can, because it matters, like I said. Oh. That's not what I wanted to do. See? I'm here. That's actually not what I tried to do. I was hitting the wrong key there. See, I'm just behind the camera here. Yes, too much water is also terrible too, right? That balance, right? Just like how, you know, as an analogy, well, a real world analogy, right? You know, garden spaces and stuff like that. Just like the soil needs that balance between air, water. Because too much of it, one way or another, kind of causes the plant to be different. And of course, all that air stuff that makes it work together, alright? The microbes. Even the bugs. I know sunflowers, you don't like the bugs, but you know, they're part of the soil. That too. And of course, you know, the fungi, you know, just like that one fungi that's still in the chat, right? Hell, you're still in the chat, right? That kind of, you know, that all matters. And yes, I've been doing something too, by the way. Let me just move I gotta move my chat so I can actually see it. Yeah, I've been doing stuff too, guys. Yeah, that's the first time you're gonna see this. Because this is part of the preparedness side. Oh yeah, see? I know, Mark, I know you're gonna say, yeah, they are showing food. I know, because it matters. Alright? Resources like this. Because it matters. And using the resources out there the best you can. Because I know at times, not all of us have all these resources. Alright? Because even on the preparedness side, you know, we all start from somewhere. You know? And then, like I've said to our people before in their comment section, you know, I may not have all the resources out there, but I'll use the resources I do have and make something out of it. The best that I can. Because like I said, it matters. It matters. Let me bring back up my chatter. I see, M.O.R.E. Hey, I'm doing alright, The Real. I appreciate you coming by, man. So let me ask you guys as a question on the side chat here. Well, yeah. Sorry, I have to turn on the camera so I can actually see the side chat. What are you folks out there doing right now? Maybe not exactly today, but maybe in the last little bit. What are you guys doing to improve your situation? You guys are trying to learn something? You know? Maybe it's some sort of hobby you're trying to take up. Like sewing, gardening, along the lines of that. You know, your mental state of things, right? People, remember, the mental state of the person matters too. Because you, like I said, you can have all the resources in the world at times, right? You can have all the skill, knowledge, experience, but you still have to have the willingness to use them and the willingness to keep going, because that matters. Because without that, doesn't matter, all right? You still need that will to, that driving force, whatever it is, all right? I know in the preparedness community, right, people do it for the ones that they care for, because they realize that it matters. You know, it's not always for themselves, although sometimes, you know, they also do it for themselves, but it's for those, that significant other, the daughter, the son, the grandparents that we have, and all that stuff. Maybe even for the neighbor that you know, that best friend, you know, where you go check up on them, right? You go try to help them out as a person, because you can spare some resources for it. You know, back in 2020 during the TP heist, while everyone else was like kind of like, well, you know, doing that thing, I was offering TP to someone else because they were down on their luck. And I said to them, you know, I offered it to them as a gesture of good faith, alright? To show that, you know, there's still someone out there that wants to help you out the best that they can, you know? Like, I know it seems very simple, but sometimes it's that gesture that leads to something more, you know? So back to the resources again, alright? Back to those resources again. The chop and drop. You know, the compost. Putting the leaves back out there, alright? Reusing and recovering those resources, so they can spin back around and help, well, your local area again, as much as possible. Learning how to fix your car out of necessity, yeah, okay, yeah, you know, and keeping those resources still going, because they were already manufactured and produced already, for example, right? You want to get the best lifespan out of it as much as possible. So, let's say you spend 20 grand, just for an even, nice, simple number. If you can make that go for, like, 10 years, or longer, you know, you're making those resources that were used to make said vehicle, the rubber, the plastic, the metal, the glass, right? As much as possible, you know? And then, after, you know, like, literally you're on your last tire on its last legs, well, wheel, in this case, then you get something new, alright? Or maybe something, you know, pre-owned, right? And then maybe even after all that, you know, you put that car to some use or whatever, alright? As much as possible. You get someone to scrap it for you. They scrap all the metal out of it, all the copper, all the aluminum, all the steel, all that, alright? Bring the glass back to something to be melted back down, all the aluminum to be melted, the metals to be melted back down again, to cycle it back around again. To hopefully build something else, or make something else that we can use again, hence the resources. Hello, Vanessa Kitty, I appreciate you coming by. Making soil and direct sowing of crops that looks after itself. Yeah, right? Because in time, and building upon that, right? You know, it's just like how we would say, you know, hashtag halfway soil bank. And that was a good video earlier, by the way, Howie. I appreciate it. That was good. You had alternative methods? Okay, talk. I mean, that was the reason I offered it to someone, right? As a gesture. At that time. Right? Because at that time, I'm not saying everyone, right? People were kind of, like, not as prepared as, well, as they would want to. So as a gesture of good faith, I offered some to someone that could use it. Because I know I could spare it. Alright? To show that, you know, the friendship was more than just resources, about resources. Alright? It was about the people and caring enough to do something about it. Because like I said, it's up to us to do something about it. Alright? Because it's the people out there that actually, more or less, saying, that help other people out. Because I've seen that. I've seen the stories out there, alright? You know, how the preparedness community helped out people in Tennessee, for example. Alright? Offering the resources that they could spare. Because they realized that the people are more important than the resources. I'm not saying the resources are important too, but in terms of priority and like, and showing something more, and making our reality effective, aka more. Last thing, you know, if you can spare a little, you know, do so. If you can, you know, I would understand, right? Just like on an airplane. I've used this metaphor before, but it kind of holds true still, right? You know, you gotta make sure you got the oxygen mask on, then help someone else out with theirs. Because if you pass out without oxygen, you can't help someone else out. You know, that's why I say it, alright? It's not to be greedy, it's that, you know, if you go down, well, then who's gonna actually help, you know, their person, right? But if you're doing well, example, you have the resources, right, for example, then you can help other people out. And that's another thing I've noticed more and more. You know, when you have these resources, you can help people out. But it's very hard to help people out or offer assistance when you don't actually have the resources, or you're kind of really down yourself. You know? Yeah. But yeah, good on you, Tuck. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything in here. Okay. Just scrolling back on my channel. Okay, the real. Okay, Tuck, I just read your comment in there, yeah. You know, that kind of gardening kind of thing, like, you know, aesthetically, you know, the flowers and all that stuff, you know. I like flowers too, right? But, you know, instead of just always focusing on ornamental, the visual aspects of something like that, perhaps grow a resource that can actually give you more. You know? Such as a sunflower. Not the person here, because that's sunflowers, but sunflowers as in the plant itself. Alright? I can offer a lot right there. You know, there's just multiple reasons why I actually grow them now. And harvest that kind of resource. Which just happens to be, like, right next to me. Right here. See? I'll just leave that on the screen. I'll just leave that on the screen right here. right? It's not just for this. I don't just grow the sunflowers just for this. For the food aspect of it. It's not just for the pollinators out there. It's not just for something to look at. I do it for multiple reasons now. So it's not just the food aspect, not just for the bugs, the pollinators out there. And so I actually have something to chop and drop later on. And I can use the stock as a trellis later. Which I actually have used the previous year's trellis. The previous year's stalks of the sunflowers to use as something I can use to help me, like a trellis, for example. Yeah, that too, M.O.R.E, yeah. Sorry, it's hard to see my overlay on the chat when I have something in front. You know? Okay, I was making sure I didn't miss anything in there. And now I'll show you guys something else too. Yeah, I'll show you guys something else too while I'm at it. Yeah, I haven't even shown this at all yet to anyone. Yeah. I'm pretty sure Howie knows what this is. Amongst some other things. Alright? But coming back to the gardening aspect of it, I've started to grow these things, not just for the preparedness part in terms of food, not just for the environment, for the pollinators out there, and not just for like chop and drop later on or trellis. I'm doing it for all those reasons now. Multiple purpose. Night, Mark. Take care, man. I appreciate you coming by. Yeah, I saw. I saw that prep for it. I did see it, man. I did see it. Maybe I didn't see it out loud, but I did see that comment. You wrote that like 10 minutes ago, give or take. Just let me check on something real quick here. I gotta make sure my battery's charging beforehand. So, those things right there, those resources, like I said. And I've been doing more and more as I grow it. I find more and more reasoning for growing it now. I mean, as a person, or in terms of people, right? I've said this to another channel before, in our Canadian channel, over on their live streams, that, I grew the sunflowers for those reasons. And, in the middle of August, it could be much warmer out. The leaves are so big on it, it can provide me shade. Oh, and it can provide shade to some other plants, too. And technically, the sunflower can technically provide water. Or at least change rainwater to drinkable water. Technically. Because I tried it over the summer. To see. Yeah, I did try that out, by the way. I don't have the image loaded, but yeah, I did try that. Dill, green beans, and basil. Yeah, cool. I got a few things in this area that I'm in right now, which is basically a kitchen, for example. But yeah, I'm growing some of this stuff out. I've expanded a little bit more. Expanded that kind of, in terms of the preparedness side, I've expanded my knowledge about it. Gaining experience by doing something. Trying something out. Alright? I didn't know, some of this, I didn't know until I actually started trying it out. you know, I know there's lots of videos out there, but you're gonna try it for your own area and see for yourself. Because you might be surprised what can happen. And the next thing you know, you're growing something indoors or outdoors, but in this case, indoors. And perhaps as a person, you know, you feed people with it, and then you see our benefits of it. You know, and stuff like that. Let me go get something here. Sorry, my camera. You know, let me turn my camera back on without tilting this too much here. Here, I gotta move my chat to the side. Yeah, see? Sorry, I'm tilting it, but yeah. Look at that. Some green onions right there. With a little bit of sunshine. Well, you could use grow lights too, but I'm using sunshine in this case. A little bit of water. Combine it with that soil that I have in there. And next thing you know, I got something that has vitamin C in it, for example. Something I can use in meals and soups. It's not even that difficult. At least not in my case anyways. You know, if you got a self-facing window or something like that, try to grow something like that. I mean, I've had these growing for a while. Actually, in the last little bit, I've been almost having one little, like, part of it every single day. Almost. Although I usually pick the taller ones first. Actually, I actually had some of it earlier today. Yeah, shelving units with LED shelf lights under the house and grow plants under those lights. Oh, okay, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool, my earth. But yeah, sunflowers. If you're interested in something like that, just try it out, right? Learn by doing. You know? Because you might be surprised what you're able to do as a person. Give you some confidence to do something. For example. And if it doesn't go well or whatever, well, try again, alright? Keep trying, keep pushing forward with it. And go, just do it, right? You know, like I said, with so much going on, we need to be doing a lot more. And in my opinion, I am HO. In my honest opinion, we need to be growing stuff more and more around wherever we can. Cause coming back to the resources again and the people again. Alright? I was watching the news the other day just because I was waiting for something and I just kind of brushed by it, right? You know, and they were talking about this out east, into like Toronto or something like that. That the food bank here in Canada, probably in that area specifically, the demand for food bank, or the usage of a food bank, the demand of the food from the food bank has risen very, very much. The demand is much higher. And for obvious reasons, because we know of, right? The cost and all that stuff, right? And I'm not saying you can grow everything, but at least grow a little bit more. Maybe a little bit more. Make that be a little bit more, right? So maybe if you can only grab resources like ramen noodle, for example, which I don't have. Well, actually, I do have one here, but. Fighting, I don't drop it. Yeah. Alright. I'll show this. This looks like this. See? Ramen noodle. Alright. Also, it's not the most nutritious or whatever, but with that said, you can increase or at least bring this up to something a little bit better if you have with some fresh vegetables, for example, and add into that. And some people that are, they can tell, or they would tell you. Because and the other thing is, food bank, they get donations, as in food donations, for example, right? So if people can't spare the food, well, they're not going to spare the food to the food bank. And good for people that are sparing food to the food bank as much as they can. You know, they do what they can, and again, it comes back to people helping people as much as they can. But maybe they can't spare that standard 2 kilograms, 2 pounds of food that they usually bring in. They can only go halfway just because, you know, money's tight or the resources are tight, you know. And it comes back to because they gotta feed their own family. I guess I overheated the phone in there. I didn't realize, because it'd be the first time I actually did for this. I can't believe I actually did that. On that. I guess I had lots to say in there. I'm just gonna bring some things back on the screen here. No, I'm back. I overheated the phone. I just turned around, right? I just turned back around. I was just like, it went into that emergency mode. I was just like, really? I'm not even actually running per se high-end visuals. Because all those visuals are static. Anyways, apparently now I know that I can resume on Prison Live. Anyways. Because I was charging my phone at the same time. I was just like, yeah, anyways. I don't know how much everyone caught. I know it wasn't that far in, because I just showed the ramen noodles on the screen. So I know, and I was just putting them away. I was just like looking at this. So I think what I will do here, I'll do this in a certain way. Again, I'll hold the phone without charging it. Maybe I was not consuming too much power, but it was putting too much power into it. So I'll the be prepared sign, I'll just take it off for now. I'll just have the Sierra logo on the screen for now. I'll just hold the phone for now. I appreciate everyone still sticking around. Oh yeah, this will make a great video. Yeah. Typical. Typical. So yes, you know, before I got derailed randomly here, you know, just something like the green onion, like I showed earlier, you know, and growing something like that. You know, something like that at least would give you a little bit of vitamin C, a little bit of greens, right? You know, and relatively straightforward to you know, to grow. You know, basically a little bit of light, sunshine, some water, decent soil, right? I'm growing them in a container right now. So if you guys wrote something in the chat like 2 minutes ago, I cannot see it because I cannot scroll back up that far. So just retype it again. Sorry. I see 5 people are still in here. I'm assuming it's still good because no one's saying anything. I'll just leave that on screen here. Maybe I'll go with less visuals. And I'll randomly type in the chat here. Just so everyone knows I'm still here. I'll just put a dot. I'll just put a dot. There we go. Yeah. You probably could. Mother Earth, you probably could. And if you don't know, try it out. It's just like anything out there, right? You know, be your own kind of soil scientist or gardener out there, right? Learn by doing. You may be surprised. You may be surprised. Just like how there's different growing zones, for example, right? There's also microclimates, too, right? There's ways to extend the growing season. There's ways of approaching it with the resources that you do have. Because let's look back at the past. Before all this technology, going back to the preparedness part of it, where people are like drying stuff over a fire, smoking a piece of meat or whatever, jerky or whatever, salting and all that stuff for food, to preserve food and drying it out. I mean, we're lucky nowadays we have modern day conveniences, dehydrator, freeze dry machine, blah blah blah. You can make your own solar dehydrator. For example, get some glass to use or whatever. Maybe you reuse some very fine mesh so the bugs don't get into it, and the next thing you know, you got something that can help you preserve some food a little bit longer. Because, let's face it, some of these harvests that you can get, I mean, I know it's kind of late now because it's November, but at that time, some of these harvests, like on an apple tree, there's a lot on even like, let's say, 15-foot apple tree. There could be thousands of apples. How many people out there have seen people, hey, do you want apples? Offering apples and stuff like that. Imagine you had a way to extend the life of those resources a little bit longer. And in turn, help you in the preparedness side. And in turn, help the environment because the food's not going to waste. And I'm not a big fan of wasting food as much as possible. It's one thing to drop a meatball on the ground or whatever, or drop an apple slice on the ground, but, some of this other stuff could be, I wouldn't say necessarily preventable, but at least delayed, So you can get a little bit more time out of it, or in this case, shelf life out of it, before it starts to go, quote-unquote, bad. Oh, yeah. You're not trying to... Yeah, you're gonna try? That's awesome, M.O.R.E. Just try it out. Maybe if you don't know, and you've never seen anyone else do it or whatever, just try it out. Maybe you might be surprised. You'd be like, hey, this wasn't even that bad. I thought, yeah, it is possible. For your own area, then you can do something like that. For example, I mean, I'm trying out stuff. I've said this on my Instagram, well, to other people or whenever. I kind of mentioned it indirectly to some other people. Like, I'm trying out what people would call new to you kind of things, or new to me kind of things, right? I know other people have done it, but this is new to me. I want to try it for myself. Learn by doing it, right? Gain the experience by developing that skill and bringing in that knowledge that I see on some other videos or whatever. Because I'm lucky enough to be able to go online, check some videos out, get some tutorials or something like that, get a better understanding of it. But at the end of the day, to gain that experience, you still need to actually do it. Try it out. Hey, who knows? Maybe you might be surprised. For example, if it's a food type of resource, try it out. Maybe you don't know, if you don't know how it tastes like, try it out. Try it out and see for yourself. Some sort of food, preserving food in a certain way, right? If you're not sure, try it out. Try it out with a sample or in small scale before you go into a much larger scale. For example, maybe you're not sure about a quote unquote a dehydrator. You don't have the money for it. Whatever it is, right? So but you do have resources to build a solar version of it, and providing it's not like fall and winter time at the moment, honestly not right now, but maybe you're building this to use later on the 2025 season, or something like that, and realize, okay, this ain't so bad, and you learn from that. Then when you have the funds come back in, a little bit more, you save a little bit more, you go out and buy that dehydrator that you want. But you've already learned a lot. You learn how the food, whatever you're dehydrating, tastes like or whatever, because you've already tried to be a solar version of it. You trying something new this fall? Harvest your celery blanch and froze the stems, dehydrate the leaves, and turn the powder to make it into a meal for tuna sandwiches. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I didn't eat yet, so I'm eating after the stream. I've already said this to other people. I'm eating after the stream, after I do the stream. Because I already knew I was been talking about food during this stream because it's an important resource. I already knew I was doing that. Just let me... I don't know if I feel it's facing back. Is it facing forward or back? No, it's facing... Okay, sorry. It's facing back. Sorry, I have to check on that. And speaking of solar... Yeah. Oh, where's my camera? Oh, yeah. See? I'm still using these, by the way. A solar option right here. Sorry, I gotta make sure where I am. And yes, I would... Well, it does turn on. See? No. It's because my lights are here. But yeah. Solar option right here. Right? But that's for a light source. Because I've seen the videos out there on... Come on. I've seen the videos out there on how to make a solar dehydrator. I'm just trying to source up the materials for it. Because I know channels out there that have done it. I've seen some of the videos and stuff like that. I'm just trying to source out the resources for that right now. And I'm trying to actually source out. It's probably not the wood, and the mesh is probably not. Eventually, I would find something. It's more the glass, a size thing. I think everything else would be okay. I could already source it out. The screws, the nails, all that stuff. There's probably lots of blueprints or schematics, that I could find out there and try it out myself. I'm just trying to source out a piece of glass that will work. Because I had this other piece of glass, but I gave it to someone else. And it's too small, too. Because I'm trying to actually source out the glass for it. Which is going to be big enough. So, that's just some, little, piece of glass. I need the surface area. That's what I'm having a hard time trying to source out. And you're probably like, oh, hey, CR, just go buy it, right? Go online, buy. Okay. I'm trying to actually source this via reusing. Because, I've said this in our live streams, or our people's live streams before, is that if you can't buy something, you're not have to find it or make it yourself. So, and as a challenge, I'm trying to source it out. Because I feel a lot better if I actually sourced it out and not just quote-unquote bought it. Especially if it's a piece of glass that would be after the fact destined for landfill. So, some sort of glass from window or something like that. I'm trying to source something like that out as much as possible. That way it would just mean so much more to me. Of course, hold on a sec. Sorry about that, everyone. Like I said, people always want to call me when I'm on live. But anyways, like I want to source out that in that way. Because like I said, it would mean so much more to me that, especially for what I do on this channel, right? Sourcing out these materials, like reusing and making something, creating something, and in turn would help in preparedness. Because just like how the stream is about P.R.E.P, people, resources, the environment, and preparedness part, it would go all along the lines of that kind of stuff. Yes, and yes, I talk this much in real life. Yes, that's me, by the way. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, stuff like that. And just in case my phone wants to do this other thing again, I'm gonna put a piece of metal underneath my phone. Maybe it'll conduct the heat away. I don't even know how I did that the last try. It's the first time I actually overheated when it's not hot outside. Maybe I ran it too hard. Anyways, yes, I'm back. Welcome back. So that's why I want to do it in that way. And there's another thing about something like a solar dehydrator is trying to source out a way for a fan for something like that so you can get airflow. That's something else I want to try to source out. And probably a solar option to run that, for example. And maybe, if I was really good at it, maybe have another way to run it. So it's not just a solar option. I could run it through another heat source in, for example. That I would love. It would all just come together like it was always meant to be. For example. Because then I would be using that all the time. I would feel very good about it, right? Sourcing out the materials well. Maybe reusing some materials for it. Multiple ways of running it, contingency, the redundancy part of it, right? And then the creative part, well, yeah, it's in there already. Well, see, that's the thing. Like I said, not everyone has money, cash, funds to throw down on everything. Some of us, including myself, I gotta be resourceful. You gotta be resourceful. Especially considering on other things that are going on, right? Coming back to the people again, right? Some people out there are doing multiple things, multiple streams of income or whatever, right? Their homes or whatever, very expensive, rent is expensive, very minimal amounts of cash or resources, funds left over for food. Let alone getting a dehydrator, for example, right? I mean, they want to, but, and stuff like that. And the thing about something like that is that you want to actually have things like a garden or whatever, so you actually have something to dehydrate, because you actually need, it's one thing to have the gear, in terms of dehydrator, but you or even a solar dehydrator, but you also need quote unquote the food to put in there. And if you're trying to cut on costs and stuff like that, you know, I mean, I guess you can get stuff on sale or whatever every so often or in season, you know. That's what a lot of people, especially in the gardening and the preparedness community, do, right? You know, especially if they grow stuff in their backyard, blah, 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 and stuff like that. They try to preserve it as long as possible, right? To extend the shelf life on it. That way, and again, the food, quote unquote, doesn't go to waste. For example. So that resource keeps, the potential of the resource, in this case food, can keep on going. It's not just out there littering the environment. And still has the potential to help people out in terms of feeding them. Because if the land can provide more, or there's that plentiful bounty or plentiful harvest, and you're able to quote unquote preserve it or extend the shelf life on it a little bit longer, let's say 6 months or whatever, right? That's just a little bit more calories, energy in people's stomach. And when people are fed, they don't complain. Because you're not yourself when you're hungry, as a commercial has kind of said something like that. I mean, like I said, I'm even trying stuff out. Things I didn't know if I could actually pull it off. I didn't know. I didn't know how it would taste like or how long it would take. But I'm trying this out because I realize more and more that this is actually important. In the same way that I said about food, I don't like wasting food. Well, you know what? Technically, if you don't eat it and it goes bad, you're still wasting food. So ways of preserving said food a little bit longer is a good thing in my books. So I've decided, you know what? Instead of just talking about it, I'm going to start doing something about that as much as I can. You know? And maybe, you know, I won't complain about being hungry anymore. Inside joke. I'm kidding about that, but on a serious note, right? Because there is people out there that are with less food. That I do know because I've seen them. I've seen them with my own eyes. You know, or, you know, I'm even subscribed to someone, right? And the first thing I always ask them, or one of the first things I ask them is like, hey, have you ate? Did you eat anything? Right? You know, sometimes they'll be like, yeah, I ate yesterday, see, or yeah. You know, someone help me out, right? Because imagine the resources that you have. Imagine you had so much you can spare some. In turn, you're helping someone else out. And maybe in turn, you know, they can get back on their feet. And in turn, maybe they'll come back and help you harvest more. Alright? So you get that circular thing going and, you know, and you're kind of uplifting someone up. Just by doing a little bit more proactive things. So hopefully that makes sense. Because I'm even trying stuff, like I said. I have no idea. I've watched some videos. And I'm trying it out. Literally trying things out. I gotta double check when my start time was. Okay, it was about an hour ago. Okay. But yeah. Like I said, I'm trying stuff out. I have no idea until I start trying. Because there's another reason why I want to do these kind of things is I want to know how experience it for myself and see it from my own eyes. You know, I can hear things like, oh, it can go for this long or whatever, right? Well, let's see for myself. I want to see it for myself, understand it, learn it for myself, to experience it for myself. Learn that knowledge by experiencing it, and hopefully in time gain the skill from doing said things as much as possible. You know? Maybe it's not always gonna be like, quote unquote, by the book or those hard rules out there at times, right? Because like I've said to our people, you know, and I've said this before on some of those preparedness type of videos, the food hauls, amongst some other things, right? I do what I can here to be more ready, you know? Because we all have different income levels, blah, 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 different situations. There are people we have to care for, and among some other things, right? Climate too, environment too. So do what you can, you know, especially if it's in a positive direction, as much as possible. The mother of necessity, right, Tuck? Indeed. Oh. If only this one person that I know that likes that word indeed was here. That'd be hilarious. That'd be hilarious. But yes. Indeed, indeed. Indeed. Yeah, for sure, indeed. Yes, I know, I just said indeed, indeed. I don't know why. But yeah, I'm just trying this stuff out, like I said. Because I've realized more and more, it's just like... How do I say this? I'm trying to figure out the wording. I'll get back to it, but... Some of the stuff, at times, I'm just trying it out, just like... And doing it, right? You know, instead of just... mindlessly watching... Why not actually, like, kind of mimic or do what they do? Or attempt to try it, at least. You know? Because you never know until you try. For yourself. This whole... When people say, like... Oh, I don't know how to do it or something like that. I mean, like, there's plenty of videos out there. For example. You're just gonna... do it as a person and not just... You know, just do it. Because I've seen people out there at least try it and maybe get somewhere. Maybe you know, maybe for some reason they can't do it anymore or whatever. The reasoning is, you know, they move somewhere else, they can't do it there or whatever. But at least, you know, at least they gain a little bit of experience from it. You know, technically it is an E-word, but... You know, but it really falls back on the preparedness part of this stream, the P.R.E.P stream. Because, you know, how can I say this here? Now, because it matters. That's why. That's why really I'm saying this in the first place. Because it all matters. You know, in the long run of things, right? Especially considering on how things are going lately at times, right? Because especially on the preparedness side of things. Things are kind of... How do I say... iffy. Wait, I'll use another word. I'll use the CR word. Precarious at times. Or it seems like it.
uncertainty. I guess that'd be a nursery word, right? So we're gonna take some action ourselves as people to do something about it. The best that we can with the resources that we have, as much as possible. And find the time to actually do it. You know? And trying to improve on your situation or your position, as some people say it as. Because, like I said, it matters. Well, Tuck, do what you can, man. Like, I understand certain things, right? Do what you can. Hell, go grow some green onions in a windowsill. At least that's some degree of preparedness. Acquiring resources or being able to source out resources locally as much as possible. And do what you can. Because there is preparedness things that I'm not there yet. I'm not there because I don't have certain resources to utilize. I'm not saying they're not important, but I'm just not quite there yet. So, if I'm not there for some of these live streams at times that I talk about, it's because I don't know what to say at times. I don't have any prior experience with it. It's not that I don't want to learn, I just don't know. I guess I shouldn't make excuses, but I'm trying to do what I can as much as possible. Because it all matters. And going beyond, you do grow green onions, chives, oregano, rosemary, and going. Hey, that's something, Tug, man. That's something. I know people out there that don't even grow any of that. Alright? They don't even know any of that. They don't have that knowledge and experience and that skill to do that kind of thing. You know? Then, because they don't have that kind of things or whatever, right? They lack some of these other preparedness type of skills, like knowing how to cook, right? Because the convenience of delivery, right? They were skip the cooking. Yeah, I just said it like that, right? They were skip that cooking, right? Because I was talking to someone, right? Because of their kid wanted some help with something, right? And they're like, CR, how long do I put it in for? Into this microwave. Sorry, I need to make sure I'm very specific here. They're like, how long do I put it into the microwave for? Because it was a microwavable thing. I was just like, 2 minutes, right? They were already almost reaching double digits for an age. I'm just like, they didn't even know about time or what 2 minutes meant. I was like, what? Like, to myself, I was like, I learned how to tell time or something like that when I was that age, right? So it just shows that disconnect from something like that. Because it's just nowadays, instead of looking at clock, people just set an alarm, right? Blah, 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 set for 2 minutes, whenever, right? I'm still old school. I just look at the time and then I'll just be like, well, the rice is supposed to take about 15 minutes because that's how I learned it. I learned that from a rice cooker that kind of automatically does it. Old school. I shouldn't say old school, but kind of, if you don't have that resource or that piece of gear, I know how long it takes, give or take. Rice is about 15 minutes, give or take. Right? You fill up just past where the water, you fill it, the water level just past the rice, let it come up to a complete boil, and simmer it until the water evaporates. For example, things like that. So no matter if I was using like a campfire or propane or on a stove or whatever, I would still know to do, keep that in mind as at least a guideline. So I'm not reliant, or if I don't have some sort of fancy rice cooker that would automatically like turn off and do all this stuff, right? At least I know I could still do it with a pan. I mean, a pot with a lid with some water. Like if you went camping or something like that. What's up, Cliff? I see you in there. Fox it outdoors. What's up, man? Right? But yeah, that disconnect from it. I've seen it with my own eyes and stuff like that. Like, I'm not saying everyone's like that, but sometimes there is that disconnect of it. Because that's all they learned or knew. So, if you're wondering why I sound slightly different, because I'm randomly eating sunflowers. Remember, I'm talking about food here. And for anyone that doesn't know, when I talk about food, or you guys talk about food, yeah. I'm just saying. And remember, I haven't technically ate before this stream. I had something earlier, by the way. But that was like more like a snack or lunch. I technically haven't ate dinner or supper yet, technically. I probably will after the stream. You know, we'll see. We'll see how long I go for. We'll see. If I should cut it short, that means I'm hungry. But if I go longer, well, that means I'm toughing it out, or I'm not quite hungry yet. Or I found some sort of thing to snack on. Would you... let's see here. When you had a small one, you grew varieties of beans, tomatoes, watermelon, pumpkin, onions, sweet potatoes, nopal, papaya, several different herbs, and composted. Okay, that's cool. You grew up without a rice cooker? I never heard of them until, later, right? So you learned that how it works, how it actually is supposed to work. Because I've actually met other people that actually don't realize that. I was like, I mean, that's something I just learned back in, home ec class. A long time ago. Of all the things I learned, I remember that for sure. That's how I usually do it. For example. And yes, I have cooked rice over a fire before. I just want the water, because basically what you're doing with something like rice is actually you're steaming the rice. That's what you're doing. So it becomes soft. Basically that's what you're doing with rice. You know, because if you do it right, usually you won't burn the rice. Especially if you're using a pot with a lid. Because I've seen people burn rice, well, not seriously burn it, but, where it's scorched at the bottom. And yes, I know some people kind of like that, but I kind of always like my rice kind of steaming hot. Fluffy, alright? So it has, and stuff like that. Because it's really, when it's fluffy, it has a lot of air in it, and stuff like that, it just kind of, it kind of just tastes good. What are they? I don't know these two things. What is make a dagwood, and what is nopal? I mean, I'm not that smart guys out there, Gotta fill me in on some of this. I'm not that smart. I'm just learning. I'm just learning, right? I'm just learning. I'm just learning like anyone else out there, a student, right? You know, and every so often I share what I've learned. You know, just like here is my verbal essay to the class of stuff that I've learned. You know, that's one thing about having this YouTube channel that's kind of it's gotten me to meet some other people and kind of up my game a bit. Try something new, get out of that comfort zone a little and try something new. And see how it is. And learn by doing, not assuming or something like that. Oh, I see. I was wondering what that was. Remember, I don't have it here, so I would not have any experience with it. I wouldn't know. And I guess, you know, it's one of those things some people just don't know because they've never seen it or grown it or seen it, had it, grown it, or eaten it or consumed it. So they have no idea what it is until they actually get like a first-hand experience or they're able to touch it or see it with their own eyes. I'm kind of like that too. I need to actually see it or at least smell it, you know, and sense it with my own senses. That's why some of the stuff I actually have to do just to see for myself. It's just like in gardening, for example. For me, I need to see this life cycle of this plant. That way I'm at least more familiar with it. Hence, you know, even something like a sunflower, for example, just seeing, you know, if you received this, you know, if you never grew sunflowers before, you know, you can look at videos, whatever, but someone gives you a seed, right, and you try it out, you grow a sunflower, you see how, you take note on when it's growing and what it does and all that stuff, height and all this other stuff, right, requirements for it. You're able to get some seeds off of that. You know, where it goes beyond the adolescent mature stage to the flowering stage. You see all this stuff happening, right? You smell it, look at it, see it all the time. You get seeds off of it, viable seeds, and those seeds, you regrow into another sunflower. You just seen the whole life cycle of it, right? So you've seen that whole life cycle of it, and you're able to understand it better, that resource of it, because you've seen it in the environment. Yeah, me here. Yeah, you live way more down south than I do. Oh, okay. I mean, I'm starting to learn a little bit more too. Even stuff at times where I'm just like, I've expanded on it just because. Here's another example right here about resources and as a person understanding it, right? And what it can do, because this actually relates into, well, not necessarily preparedness, but the survivalism part. And how I related this in. Because I would never have known until I tried it. Because I know I've never seen a video on it. Because back before the solar eclipse that we had this year, I showed the video on the channel. If any of my mods want to drop that link of it, but where I showed the solar ignition, or at least the attempt of it, was sunflower. Because in the community, because in the bushcrafting community and the you know, it's always like chaga, some sort of fungus, charcoal, charpunkwood, stuff like that. I was just like, I decided to try this out because I was like, well, look at the characteristics of a sunflower, right? I wouldn't even know until I tried. I was just like, oh, this is so cool, right? Because I was starting to apply the knowledge to it. I mean, I'll show you guys something else right here. I'll show you guys something else. I've shown this too. Wow. Not necessarily to clip, but I'll show you guys right here. Let me bring this to the side here. Turn my camera back on. And move this to the side here. Sorry. See, look at this. Oh, right here. Right? That's a reverse braid, natural cordage. And this is something I grew here. I showed that plant earlier in the season. Remember those yellow flowers I showed? This is actually part of it. I tried it out. So I applied that knowledge. And so now obviously I gotta remove it like when I'm using it, but it just shows that I'm understanding that this resource a little bit more. And I realized, hey, I can actually use that resource to make cordage, which in turn I could be using for something else. For example. You know, and actually, it's still holding together. I'm not actually surprised. Because it's actually dry now. I'm not, this is just natural cordage, It is what it is, It's not paracord or anything like that for a tensile strength. But it was just something that I was like looking at that resource, right? It's in the environment, in my immediate environment, because I'm growing it. But I realized, that actually works. And it's all just because I decided to try it out. Right? I wasn't sure at first. Whatsoever. And I had to try it out a few times, but eventually I was just like, I guess it is possible to do something like that. I mean, I still have to learn more about it, and splice it together, but I'm like, okay, twist that way, reverse braid, twist back the other way, and keep twisting it. I mean, this was when it was still quote-unquote flexible, right? Obviously, once it dries out, then it's brittle, but I was just like, this can, well, it is still, it's brittle right now because it's dry, but I was just quite interested in that. Because I had no idea. I had no idea, because I'm very sure, because the videos out there, a lot of them say, just go try it out, right? And you never know until you try it out. So, useful piece of information right there for me. Hey, thanks, Doug. Yeah. And just try it out. Even your own area. It could be, okay, let's just say you actually did this, you actually used it and something like that, and it's actually something you grew as the resource. Think about, and you're using it to hold something together. Think about that. So you're using a resource in your local environment to help you in quote-unquote preparedness, because you're tying something together, to hold the plant together or whatever, right? To me, that just, I'm like, and that kind of almost mirrors what I do on the channel. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's some other resources out there that I've been trying out too. I actually did try it out with the sunflower this year. I'll probably do a video on it next year. I don't have any footage of it, but I was trying it out this year. Let's just say, yeah, I was trying something out. Because I had to tie something there. Like, don't get me wrong, I got some cordage around here. I've shown this one. I've shown this before in the last live stream, right? Yeah, I got this stuff or whatever, right? I got it laying around, right? And don't get me wrong, obviously it's gonna be stronger or whatever, right? But do I necessarily need that kind of tensile strength and stuff like that for that? Or can I get away with something else? And if it deteriorates or whatever, not a big deal. Because I sourced it out locally. Or I'm reusing said resource for it. Which means that yeah, I could do it again if necessary. So if I don't have it and have something similar around, I could just create something, right? Yeah, exactly. Divine plants that could be used for whatever the resource, where the resource itself could be used because you can see the characteristics in it, for example, right? And just like, look at the sunflower. I mean, I have one near me. Well, actually, let me go get one. Oops. Yeah, I have one right here. A little pip of it, right? All right. Right here. Right. Spongy. If it's dry without moisture, yeah, I tried it with solar ignition, and it held that ember for a little bit, so it is possible. There's other things I want to try with this, and expand on this. See if I can. And this might be one of those things that hey, I can get even more uses out of, or more potential, or uses out of something like this, which means I'm more inclined to want to grow it now. I am actually more inclined to grow it now. Because I keep seeing more and more ways I can utilize it. And when you can utilize things multiple ways, especially some sort of plant or whatever, and you can grow it, or source it out or whatever, you're more inclined to want to use it then. Or do it. And baby it and grow more of it. And just like I said about the resource of the sunflower, I can make seeds out of it. Yeah. Oops, I just dropped one. The pollinators, the bugs, wasps, bees, and such, right? Yeah, for now. People look at it, right? I mean, I talk to other people that can see my sunflowers. They're like, oh, I love your sunflowers, CR, right? And they enjoy it. So, people are enjoying it. In terms of the environment, the bugs like it when it blooms and stuff like that. And I can use it in terms of quote-unquote preparedness, well, to a certain degree, right? And stuff like that. And I can use it for other things. I mean, I'm almost thinking I can name 5 reasons I want to grow it now. So my motivation for it is higher. And when your motivation's high for something like that, because you have a purpose for it, or found a purpose for it, well, you're not gonna keep doing it. It's gonna be fun. You're gonna enjoy it, for example. Are they, Tuck? I'll keep that in mind. I'll keep that in mind. Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. And thank you, Mother, if I see that comment in there. So these kind of things is just like I just noticing it more and more as I go along. And trying to combine these things together. As one, and just kind of combine these things together and just kind of understand, and like I said, the characteristics of these resources. When I say resources, I mean like gear, plants, all this stuff. As all these resources. This is why I actually decided to use it as part of the stream. Ever since I came up with this acronym for it, because it actually makes sense to me more and more. And as you realize, when you see my content, that it kind of follows that a little bit more and more. Especially more recently. I just realized more and more about it. It's like, I mean, even other things where I'm just like, I'm just getting more uses out of said item. And, well, that also means that I can use it for other things or whatever, right? So, quote unquote, the reusing part. For anyone that doesn't know, I like reusing stuff. It shows on the channel. I do have another video. Well, I haven't recorded any of it yet, but I have another prototype for something that I've been putting together. where I'm reusing something for it. For example. Because, and again, this comes back to something I've seen before. With people that without a permanent residence, right? Back to the people again, right? Imagine being able to help someone out even better, even with minimal or less than desirable gear, because you have the skill to make it better, or the knowledge to do something about it and make it better, right? And being able to improve on it or bring something together. Sort of, metaphorically speaking, right? As a movie once quote, if this was mine, it might be able to do some good. I'm trying to quote it. I'm trying to quote that movie, by the way. Alright, but it's true, right? If you hadn't know if those, you could, yeah, exactly, right? Well, imagine if I did something like that, it'd be like, it could be something else, another reason for it. Another reason for it. And if people see it happening or put together, right? Who knows? Maybe they want to grow it. Something like that. Let's just say, right? Whatever the plan is, right? And the next thing you realize, people are gardening more, growing more. And the next thing you know, they see more benefits on it. And maybe they start growing some food. And the next thing you know, their preparedness goes up a little bit more. And the next thing you know, people are happier. Right? And there's more abundance of the said resource out there. Because like I said, if there is a reason to have the resource or to use it, yeah, you'll keep it around. Because you'll see the benefits of it. Of having it, whatever it is. Right? I'm just using the sunflower as an example because actually that's what I'm doing right now. Like, no word of lie. Like, look. No, I don't want to put that shelf. And turn my camera back on, see? I've just had these since I've been, like, talking about this, by the way. So. Like, right now I'm just basically chopping and dropping these, but maybe I can figure out another way to even use them even beforehand. Alright? Because I didn't even mention one of the things. Look at my description. It says the 5 R's. All right. So imagine I get to reuse this before I quote unquote compost it or chop and drop it. Wouldn't that be awesome? Where I can still use it for something else even before I chop and drop it, but I can still chop and drop it afterwards, though. Right? I just find another use for it. Again, which means that maybe it could help with something, for example. I'm still trying to figure that part out. Maybe I could. No, actually, there might be. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I'll have to try. There is some little things that I've tried out that are, like, different. But that's how I think. Right? Outside the box kind of thinking at times. And sometimes those ideas come from thinking outside the box. I appreciate the people out there that give me every so often, these comments, and I'm trying to paraphrase here, that go like something like, "Oh, I didn't know you could do that, sir," or something like that. I was like, I didn't know either, until I tried it out. And that's why I send video to you guys. Right? Because if I can do it here, you guys probably could do it too. Right? Especially if I'm reusing something for it. To me, it might be one of those things where from a useless state or whatever, or less quality or whatever, back into more useful state or back into something that's more useful again for someone. And if it's made for free, or I wouldn't necessarily say upcycle, but enhanced, that just means that, hey, you can take something with less quality and maybe help someone else with it by using skill to make it better. All right? And maybe you, for yourself or whatever, you have a higher quality version of it, but you still decide to bring it up a notch or kick it up a notch with your own stuff, right? If that makes any sense. Because I have one video in the works. Well, once I record it, I have the prototype of it. It's actually sitting. It's actually in. It's actually sitting right behind me. I've just been waiting to try it out. That's why I'm working on it. However, I'm not sure if I'll have it out for this year. You guys will probably have to wait till the new year, 2025, to see it. Because technically I haven't recorded it yet. I've already made the prototype, right? I just had to try it out first. So, something I've been working on. Yeah, exactly, Todd, right? Something like that. Because you see the characteristics. Yes, characteristics. I like that word. Not just because it's got CR in it, but it kind of makes sense, right? You see characteristics. Favorable character... Sorry, I almost spit a Cedo. Favorable characteristics of said resource. And you realize, hey, this could help over here because it has a favorable characteristic that's needed for this said problem or issue or whatever. Sorry, I had to look at the time real quick. And I just realized my phone wasn't charging this whole time. I'm back at the 49. Yeah. And at least my phone's not overheating now. It's not going into that emergency shutdown. Because I have it on the table and not on my stand. I'll have to make sure I double check that. Make sure that doesn't happen again. But yeah. I will... Well, I'll go till at least the bottom of the hour. It's about, 10 after, quarter after right now. At least till the bottom of the hour. I don't know if I'll go longer. It depends. Because I'm not trying to rant here about it. Trust me, I could actually rant a little bit more, but I'm like, I don't want to rant. I want to show you guys by, like, examples, right? And not just say things, but actually show you guys a couple examples or things. Inspire you guys, the people out there, to kind of do more with what you have. As much as you can. Just, I mean, the people that do things like permaculture, right? Permanent agriculture. The people that, yeah, back to the people. The people that do scrapping, right? For metals and stuff like that, right? Those are awesome people. Really, I'm very serious about that because they help the environment out, right? There's less trash on the side, you know. Like I've said it in this other live stream, right? One of my one of these people I follow, they live here in Canada, you know, and you've probably seen this every so often, especially in certain areas or whatever, right? The garbage that lays around at times, right? You know, because in the kind of camping community, right, there's always that, you know, leave the area better than it was than you got before you got there, or leave no trace, right? All right. Nowadays, not everyone. You know, that kind of rubbish, right? Because I've seen it with my own eyes, right in front of me too. Right in front of me, because I was walking by a convenience store and I was just like, I mean, I didn't want to get involved per se, but I kind of said a few things, no swearing or anything like that, but, you know, where someone younger couldn't be bothered to put their blah 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 in a bin, in a trash bin that was only like 3 feet away. I was like, what kind of BS is that? Right? You know, I was raised not to do something like that, right? At least as much as possible, right? And, you know, if it slips out of your hand, blows away, and, you know, and you're late, yeah, okay. But it wasn't even with you, and the trash can's like not even 3 feet away. They just passed it, right? Stuff like that. And you see that, right? And it kind of disappoints me at times, right? You know? I don't know if you could do that, Tuck. Good night, Mother Earth. Take care. I appreciate your comments, by the way. And not just because you're named Mother Earth, but actually because as a person that said those comments. But yeah, it just kind of disappointed me, for example, right? Disappointed me. For example, especially considering how close the bin was. Alright? You know, like I said, if you drop something by accident, okay, the wind takes it away from you or whatever, okay, that's one thing, but it's not even windy out, and you're like 2 feet away. Like, really? Alright? Alright? That's why. You know, I support what the metal scrappers, scrappers do out there. And not just because they got CR in it, right? Because they seen what they're able to do. Like, I wish I was had a little bit more space to work with that. And the knowledge behind that, right? Because one of my buddies does that, alright? He's been on the channel. I haven't had him on screen or on panel, but he's been in my side chat before, right? You know, because it totally comes up to, like, the resources, again, in the environment itself, and being able to reuse something, and the metals, for example, the copper, the aluminum gets reused. I mean, if we're supposedly, if the population is supposed to increase, right? Supposedly we're supposed to be using more, batteries, all this stuff. Like, I'm not gonna get on the tangent on that. I have my opinion about all that stuff, but sorry. How are you gonna do all of that when we're throwing out into a landfill these materials, or they're on the side of the road, or whatever, right? In the middle of the bush, right? These metals, for example. Because I've seen the shorts from like I said, from someone I follow here on the YouTube side and Instagram side. And yeah, you know, they were ticked off about it. I'm like, yeah, I would be too. Like I said to them, I'm like, that's total BS. Right? It just ruins the environment. And a lot of that stuff, okay, the plastic's okay, one thing, but I mean, there was metals in there too, right? That could have potentially been recycled. Or at least scrapped, right? For example. I couldn't see the whole thing, but because they only showed so much and it was a short, but for what it was, I was just like, what? Right? And, you know, that comes back to the people again, right? Because they don't have the money, they don't want to spend the money, right? And stuff like that. So people that do that, you know, this is why. This is absolutely why. I would never judge anyone that picks up bottles, cans, juice boxes in this area. I would never judge anyone that does that. for example. I would never judge anyone that does that. I know people that do that, and I do that myself. I've already shown it on the channel before. You know, maybe I'll do a more in-depth video on something like that, right? And I know people out there, the environmentalists or some people out there would say, you know, oh, but Singer, what about all that plastic crap and you know and all that stuff? Well, it's not all plastic though. Some of it is glass. Some of it is aluminum. Actually, technically, some of them are glass, aluminum, and steel. Not all the cans out there are actually aluminum. Some of them are steel. Because I've tried it out with a neodymium magnet. They will stick to it. You know, it's not like a pop can like a soda or whatever. That's aluminum for sure. But those have. I mean, they technically have a thin plastic liner on them. There's videos out there where people have removed or dissolved aluminum, and you can see the plastic liner on the inside, left over. It's quite interesting to see stuff like that and understand that kind of stuff. Not a lot of people know about that because they've never seen that, but you know, show them that kind of video and be like, yeah, that's what it is, right? But I would never judge anyone that does anything like that just because there's a lot of benefits to it still, right? In terms of preparedness, the money that they can acquire from that, for example. So I would never judge anyone, you know, someone that's like down on their luck or whatever. The people out there that have to do that. I mean, I do it for multiple reasons. That are all part of this live stream, right? Because those resources, again, why put them in a landfill, right? Why put them in a landfill when we can get more out of it that can help people out? And for example, right? Like, I'm not gonna argue about, like, the plastic thing or whether the plastic balls and all that crap, but not all of them are plastic, like I said. You know, that's why I'm kind of lucky to... That's one thing I noticed. Based on what I've seen, the deposit system here in Canada is better than in the US. I've noticed that. You know, in the US... It's like, I mean, it depends on the state or whatever. It's like 7.5, like 5 cents or whatever, and there's limits or whatever, and it's only on certain things. Here in Canada, it's like, depending on the province or whatever, it's like 7 cents US, or about, and sometimes as high as 16 cents US. For example, right? So people have more incentive of doing it. Which means that it's more likely to come back. And it's also more likely that the resource will get reused again. For example. Yeah, no. I wouldn't judge you, Tuck. No. Look at what I've shown on the channel. Look at what I've shown, the resources that I've shown on the channel. I said this before. I've shown, because I'm not afraid to, alright? I'll say this straight up. I've worn pink gloves on the channel. I've shown lipstick on the channel, alright? Oh, by the way, I'm into women, alright? But I see the potential of the resources and what they can do. Like I've been saying I'm still looking for, like, randomly trying to find, like, random yellow lipstick. For a specific reason. You know, and people look at me like I'm, like, some weirdo or whatever. I'm like, no, I'm doing this for a certain reason. I'm looking for the characteristic. For a certain reason. I have a certain thing I want to try with it. Well, not only try with it, but use it for a specific reason. And the thing is, I don't want to just buy it because I'm using it for like a different reason, right? I'm not spending like $20 specifically for that reason. It'll be for something that I reuse because I find something. And be able to get another use out of it. Maybe even potentially for on the preparedness side. Because I've shown it before. Secondary uses. Oh, that just happens to have a CR in it. Years back. Really? Aw. Yeah, that sucks. That sucks. Tuck. Man. Alright. Like I said, I do it for multiple reasons. And stuff like that. It's not just the preparedness part. It's not just the money. It's not just the environmental thing. It's all three of them combined. Why I do it. For those reasons. Because there's a lot of benefit. That's why. But there's no benefit in putting something in the trash. Alright? And never gets seen again. Or get circled back around again. In my opinion. In my opinion. What's my time at? Okay. I gotta remember it's almost the bottom of the hour. And I've been doing this for a while. Amongst M.O.R.E. So, it's about 5 minutes left on this stream. I appreciate everyone dropping by and hearing me out. And yes, I'm gonna chop and drop these sunflower, these seeds and, well, the shells anyways. I'm gonna figure it out. Something to use them for. Alright? Maybe I'll be like Howie and make some soil out of it or something like that. And I'll try to get some more use out of it. As much as I can. Alright? And don't get me wrong, I don't reuse every last thing. I'm still human. But, and you know, when I'm at people's friends' places outside of home, outside of being here at home, right? I gotta still respect other people and their boundaries and all that stuff, right? I do what I can, right? And I want you guys to know, I'm not a tree hugger, per se, right? I'm not these, because I also understand about the people part of it, or the preparedness part of it, right? You know, I don't have to use disposable cutlery, disposable single-use plates, but I have them for the preparedness part of it. And these are ones that I did not buy because these were already previously bought or left over. I'm just making use of them just in case. Just in case for that reason, alright? Just in case that water thing does happen. Whenever that is, whenever that happens, right? I would do it for that, right? But I'm not actually going out to buy new ones for it. Because, right? And I get it, some places the water is an issue. You know? But that comes back to, like, the resources kind of, alright? Water is life. It's kind of hard to do things without it. Actually, it's extremely hard to do anything without it, right? Grow stuff. Wash stuff. Clean things. Generate power if it's hydro power. All that stuff. You know, I do what I can here. As much as possible. Yeah, I had some blinds that broke and the slats were plastic, probably PVC. I saved some just in case, and now I wish I'd saved them all. Used them all, and it doesn't yeah. Oh, yeah. And you just didn't realize the potential of the resource. Right? That's why people that randomly change these or convert resources back from a useless state back into a useful state, alright? That was, quote unquote, most people would consider trash, and you could be able to convert something like that, right? You know, more or less. You know, I applaud them for that, right? because they're thinking outside the box. At least trying to get the resource another a second life in this case, right? Because then it puts a value on it, and when you have value on something, then people are more willing to reuse it or do something about it. When it doesn't have value, then literally it becomes trash, because then it doesn't have any value to it, or the value is so minimal that it's not even worth it, right? Because I think I noticed that too with some things at times, because from the people I've talked to, at times they're like, yeah, it used to be better, but now it's not even worth it. Yeah, right. Because it's got to be worth it. I know in the scrapping community, right? For the most part, right, you're not making a lot out of it, right? Some of the scrappers out there, unless you get the big tools, the machinery, or the things that make it more efficient to do the scrapping, it's just a side hobby, right? You're not really going into it to make serious kind of cha-ching out of it, right? So, one of the things I've been mentioning to one of my friends that does that, I'm like, yeah, enjoy it, right? But see, maybe in time try to use that scrapping money to eventually get something that actually makes it more efficient, right? So you can actually make more out of it. And in turn, right, you're able to reuse more, or potentially get things reused more. Get them back, like whatever it is, the materials, the resources, like aluminum, copper, brass, and all that stuff from the components, right? Because like I said earlier, you know what? I'll go for a little bit longer. Why not? Like I said earlier, if we're not supposed to be going into this, like I'm not diving into the environmental side for a little bit. If we're supposed to be going into this kind of green energy with batteries or whatever, right? We need to start reusing some of that stuff, right? As much as possible, right? Whatever said resource, let's say aluminum or whatever, has has a good value to it, and people realize that. Because especially if it's able to be kept in the same area or country in this case, right? Where, let's just say, and it becomes valuable again. Because if it has value, it could pitch a good price for it, especially on different markets and stuff like that. When you're trying to keep old things, those weird bits or junk can see the day. Maybe not always, but they could help, right? That's another story in itself, right? I get it. I get there's certain little issues with that. I get that. Alright? And stuff like that. What time? Well, screw it. I'll go till like quarter 2. I know I said the bottom of the hour, but whatever. It's my stream. And I'm still going here, and Tuck's still here. I still get at least 2 people. I know, keep going. Why not? I want to anyways. Because I'm still eating sunflower seeds. I gotta... Now, remember, I do have air ones, so these are... These are the smaller ones, by the way. I'm actually just consuming the smaller ones. I'm actually keeping the bigger ones just in case I want to roast them or grill with them. Just in case. Why not? Like I said, I'll probably just chop and drop this later on. Hopefully it'll help me down the road, so to speak. In terms of growing something or whatever, right? And get that resource back in the ground locally. Remember, this was grown locally, like, just outside, so literally, like, it's staying in the same or very similar environment, right? So whatever it pulled, the NPK, whatever it pulled out of the ground for it, well, maybe somebody can go back in the ground. That way it can get recovered, for example, as much as possible. So, you know, I, you know, these characteristics of things, right? When I see certain things, that's how I see things. Like, just like how I've said in my combination mode live streams, is I see things on their potential. I'll be like, hey, that's a piece of glass. It has potential. Right? I can use it. I think a lot of the time it's with the resources, it's because the way that they're manufactured or produced, it may be difficult to kind of separate them or convert them, for example. And a primary example, and it's very difficult, and someone in time needs to figure out a way to do it in a different way, right? I mean, I've been learning more about this stuff. I mean, it's not that mainstream, or else everyone would be doing it, right? In every country. Unfortunately, it's probably not, right? For some reason, startup costs, whatever, right? Instead of doing the traditional way that other people have done it, they do it another way. Figure out another way of doing it. And people are probably wondering, why is he here snacking on sunflower seeds? That's why. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean, right? You do what you can, right? Do what you can. I'll be straight up with this right here. I'll be straight up with this. I am following an environmentalist here on YouTube, by the way. And I'm part of this preparedness community. Alright? There's two things I said to both communities. Right? Because of what's going on and whatever, right? You guys voted in the US, now you gotta, or I shouldn't say it like that. It's up to us to do something about it. Alright? An understanding of things. Yeah, I don't want to use plastic too at times, but I also realize the value of water, right? In an emergency, right? A bottle of water, right? For example, right? But usually I'll use a metal water bottle like I have right behind me, actually. Because I actually have it right behind me. See? Metal water bottle right behind you, alright? Plastic bottle. Oh, by the way, I'm reusing this for something else, and then drinking out of it, but that metal water bottle, this is my standard thing. The plastic, that's just contingency or something like that for me. I don't like really using it day to day. Unless for some reason I have to or whatever. That's the only reason I would want to use something like that. But yeah, I get what you mean, Tuck. Because just like we all create waste. Coming back to the resource, right, in the environmental side of things, right, we all create waste. Not just physically, but, our reasons, right? Because we gotta remember every last resource out there, or the natural resources that went into making the things that we use, right? Yeah, you can get it secondhand, I get it, right? But, if you do buy something new, well, the resources that went into evolving into that, right? Whether it be metals, wood, paper, plastic, petroleum-based things, for example. Rare, minerals and metals that were mined. And not just what happens at the end of the life cycle. Gotta remember the production side of things. A phone. This phone I'm using is secondhand, by the way. Previously used. My tripod stand. Well, at least the part that would hold the phone. I found that. For example. I got a flashlight next to me. You know, it's not the newest or greatest. It's USB, but chargeable. But it's secondhand because I got it at a garage sale for $1, for example. You know, and stuff like that. So I do what I can. As much as I can. And try to reuse whenever I can, but I also realize there's a time and place for new, too. Right? And then there's just some things that are very hard to get secondhand, at least in my opinion. Just for what it is. We won't spend money at it. As much as possible. I mean, I remember this one time. Right? Because this will come back to resources and environment and the preparedness part again. Unfortunately, I do not have it because it stopped working, but I found a solar light. Abandoned. It worked for another 2 or 3 years with me. Alright? I found that it was abandoned. So, and that's the thing. People do abandon things or whatever, and, you know, and it still works. I was just like, you know, I was just like thinking to myself, I'm like, did they even get a year or two out of this? Or is it because they didn't maintain it? Or is it because, you know, is it this obsolete thing? Or they got something new or something like that? You know? Especially considering, like, there's people out there at times. Not just the people without a permanent residence, but there is other people out there, right? And I'm not just talking about in a third world country or whatever, right? That have less, and yet people are throwing out perfectly good things. Well, I shouldn't say perfectly good things, but things that are still usable or useful, right? You know, maybe it's just because, you know, oh, I want a new phone. This one's better, right? You know, stuff like that. Because something like that, let's just say it's older light or whatever, and, you know, it's not as good as your newer one runtime or whatever, right? Go dedicate that into a quote unquote survival kit, a get home bit, a 70-hour 2 kit, right? Something like that. Improve your situation with the preparedness part of it, right? And take this excess stuff that you have and make it into quote unquote a 72-hour kit or something like that. You know, some of these people out there that are like going through stuff. For example, like these people that happen in Tennessee, Spain, other places out there, all right. You know, it's one thing when you have stuff. It's totally different when you don't have the resources, even basic resources. And again, these resources bank into people that can use them again, you know, as much as possible. Oh, don't even get me started on that, Tuck. I swore I could talk about that too, right? Because fast fashion is a thing. It totally is a thing. Alright? Right? I've seen the videos. All that stuff, right? I just stick to basic things as much as I can. Like, I think, it's just one of those things. I mean, I wasn't always like that, but I think as I grew up, I realized that, right? I think, in school and stuff like that, right? People are trying to fit in, So you get that kind of the style, the jacket that everyone's wearing around, that style, right? And stuff like that. Whatever it is, brand name, whatever, right? But I think as you grow older, right, you realize that's not everything. I mean, some people understand that because coming back to out of necessity. They didn't have all the money in the world, right? So they had to make do with what they got. But, all of those people still had food on the table, right? Where, as a kid or whatever, you never went hungry. Or had to think about where was the next meal, for example, right? I like how I said I was gonna go at 15 minutes ago, and I said at 1:45, and it's already like 1:45. All right, I've decided I'll go till the top of the hour, absolutely for sure. Because 2 reasons. I don't want to strain out my voice because I've been talking for like hours straight to maintain audience retention on the chat, and I'm starting to get hungry and stuff like that. I don't know about that, Tuck. I think usually it'll be like, oh, no, it's a liability thing, right? It's a liability thing. Or at least you'll be told that. Yeah, okay, Tuck. I get it. Because I actually don't even bother asking like that at a first store. I'll just find it instead. Even better. I mean, something like, going back to, like, if I related this to, like, the bushcrafting community, kind of, like, making charcoal, for example, right? I'll take a look at stuff, I'll just take a look, I'll be like, and maybe, it might be just a sweater, maybe not a sweater, but let's say a hoodie or whatever, and just someone just forgot about it, right? Well, they're not coming back, and, it's supposed to snow or rain tonight, so they're definitely not coming back, right? Because once it's soaked or whatever, they're probably not gonna come back. They'll be like, screw it, whatever. It's just a hoodie, right? But I could see it like, oh, hey, it's 100% cotton. I could make this into charcloth. Get another use out of it or something like that, right? Because it's cooler instead of landfilling it or whatever, right? Especially considering like what goes on in making this. Something like cotton. The water that's needed for that. Yeah, I know what time is it there. Yeah, but, I've been... Oh, okay, I see. I've never asked that here. I mean, I found 100% common things that I've used to char with later down the road when I have access to another campfire or whatever, right? Or I go camping, right? Something like that. Although I haven't done that for a while. I'm just remembering these side stories now. Thanks. But yeah. I do, I did. That's because it was from someone, so I knew where it originally came from, but it was 100% wool, but there's a hole because of the sweater, right? And I, let's just say, reused the resource of it. so it doesn't end up in landfill necessarily, and it helps on the preparedness side because it's 100% wool. 100% wool has a natural. It doesn't quote unquote melt or burn as easily because it's has natural fire resistant characteristics to it, right? I can use it while around a campfire, while I'm making charcoal. I can use it like an oven mitt because it does have heat resistant characteristics to it, and use that. So that's just something right there. I haven't shown it on the channel, right? It's probably the first time anyone's gonna hear about it, but. And this is back in 2020, by the way. That same person that I gave the TP to. So, you know, if anything, I'd be like, oh, yeah, you don't owe me back anything for the TP. I got something out of it already. They're like, really? Are you sure? Yeah. 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 Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Alright, that's the point. You know, just like... Because in certain situations, you don't have to utilize the materials, the resources that you do have. Especially if it's serious, though. Because you can't just simply buy your way back out of it. Right? You realize that. And those kind of conveniences and stuff like that. At least my phone's not overheating like it did earlier. I'll have to keep that in mind. What is it? I really like how, you know, now I'm still sticking on the topic, but I'm kind of venturing into these air domains here a little bit more that I don't usually venture into on my typical long form content or shorts. I mean, I rarely even say it on some of these live streams. However, this is the P.R.E.P stream, so I get to say a little bit more of it. So, and these are my opinions, by the way. You know, and I understand why people do certain things or have to do certain things, like disposable single-use chopsticks, blah blah blah. I get there's a reasoning for it, alright? I'm not gonna judge just because you do it. For example, because I also realized that you also prepare too, right? So, you know, for that, you're doing it for that reason, right? So I understand that, but a little less when, you know, oh, I just don't buy these two things for like Halloween, and then the week after you say that you're broke or whatever because you need, you know, food money, right, or something like that. Nah, that's different, right? That's a lack of like allocating your funds correctly, or thinking ahead, or being proactively thinking ahead. Need to remember what part? You just wrote. That's pretty cool. I need to remember that. I just set up a bunch of stuff. What, the wool? That wool is what. Because I still have to take. It's not on the article, but I still have to take itself, just for reference. It's Lana wool. Alright? So, I've already used it before. In the time last time I showed making charcoal, actually I had it with me. Because I actually needed it so I can take my tin out of the fire. Because I had to get that close. I had tongs too. I still needed that. Just because of the nature of like reaching in to grab it. Yeah, right? So I've gotten so many benefits out of it. Right? And it's 100% wool, so helps me in the winter. So, like, imagine, I'm reusing something. It's helped me in terms of quote unquote preparedness to a certain degree, right? You know, if I'm making charcoal or whatever, right? It's helping me in the winter. Helps me against fire. These elemental things, right? I'd be like, yeah, right? I mean, I got so much more out of it than I realized I could ever do, right? It's just one of those things. I mean, it's sitting in our room. I'll probably use it over the winter. So I've found so many uses for it. You know, I mean, if I had another one or whatever, right, I'd be like dedicating it to like some go bag or some everyday carry, get home bag kind of setup. Just because how useful I've seen it. Well, how useful it is for what it is, right? Different situations. It's not a one trick pony. Multiple uses out of it. And just like the sunflower, I can get more uses out of it. I'll be like, yeah, it will justify me carrying it then. Or using it, or reusing it, or potentially, not conserving, but bringing it back into a useful state as much as possible. Well, it's almost the top hour. 5 minutes! Alright. 5 minutes. Now you'll be looking for... Make sure it's 100% wool whenever possible. It's because any of those additional fibers will... Just because you don't want to be touching something that's not really, really hot with... That's not 100% wool. Because any of the synthetic or the cotton, it'll burn. And the heat will transfer in. I'm not saying the heat won't transfer in with the wool, but... You know what I mean? As much as possible. I was just looking... I saw the tag on it. And it said 100% lino wool. So, I knew for sure. Because that was the manufacturer's tag. So, you know what I mean? But, you know, that might be more tricky for you down south. But, hey, maybe. It could be useful. I mean, you have something like that. You get that for a couple bucks or whatever, and you're able to reuse something like that. That might help you down the road somewhere. For example. You're still listening? Alright. It's all good, man. Like I said, I'm going for another 5 minutes because... You guys want to see how much... Look at this. I gotta, like, move my tray out of the way. Look at this. No word of lie here. Look how many sunflowers I just went through. Look at this. Like, look at that. Look how much I'm going through. I wasn't getting that. See, it's because I'm actually getting hungry. And I haven't eaten supper or dinner yet. I need to cook something up. Not sure exactly what I'll have tonight, but... And I might drop by on her live stream. Because I'm pretty sure she's live right now. I was supposed to go half an hour ago. Because she starts the stream a half an hour ago. Well, 25 minutes ago. 26 minutes ago. 27 minutes ago. I like how 2 minutes just went by so fast. Yeah. So, everyone. Okay, I gotta commit to it. Right away here. So, go do something awesome out there. Alright? Things are changing. Alright? And we can do something about it. Because it's up to us to do something. Alright? Because you see the writings on the wall at the moment on whatever this and that, right? I mean, I already know this because you guys voted in the US. I'm voting like here next year in Canada here. Right? It doesn't matter. You know? If you're not doing it for yourself, do it for the ones you care for, the ones you love, right? Do it for them, alright? Do it for them. Try to grow some food, alright? The best you can. I know not everyone's in a home or 10,000 acres of land, right? Some people are in an apartment, right? Do what you can. I've seen people grow stuff in their apartment. You know, maybe it's a couple herbs, some green onions, whatever, some dwarf plants or whatever, right? And I mean, do what you can. Yeah. Exactly, right? I'm just kind of milking the last minute or two here because I was just like, I might as well now. Because I want to make sure everyone understands where I stand on this. Alright? And this is why you'll see things like me reusing stuff on the channel and stuff like that. Because it's one of those things I have to start to bring back more and more. And like I've said, you know, and make the channel more and more, less about quote unquote the gear or the resources, but more the skills and the knowledge and being able to reuse our resources, right? And utilize all the resources as much as possible, you know? And metaphorically, you know, just like how someone built something with a bunch of scraps in a cave, like in that movie, right? Just like how I posted something earlier in the week on Tuesday on the 12th for someone else to represent that, right? And hold on, because you're more than that suit. We all can be, right? And with that, go do something awesome. Things are changing. And try to improve your skill and knowledge by trying things out and gain more experience. And help people out the best that you can. Right? Maybe it's not for a total stranger or some random acts of kindness, but do it for your neighbor, right? Your own family, right? Because in certain situations, those are the people that you might have to rely on. Those are your community, right? Because that community that you belong to, or, you know, in your area, that's what matters. An apartment or whatever, right? I know not everyone gets along, but, you know, trying to do something, right? Lead by example. Take the high road. And I'll catch you all next time, everyone. Thank you for your time, and good night.